To 68, Auburn head coach Bruce Pearl has retired. The rumors have been swirling for a while, Goodman, that he was going to step down. It sounds like his son is replacing him. You have more on this story. What can you tell us about Bruce Pearl's decision to step down as the head coach at Auburn?
Yeah, I mean he's been contemplating this all off season. I remember sitting down with him at the PTM, and he told me at the beginning of the conversation, "I'm not running for Senate." Then by the end, he said, "I'm not sure. I'm 60-40." So he had been going back and forth on this decision all off season. We haven't confirmed that he is going to run for the soon-to-be vacant Senate seat in Alabama. Um, that'll be vacated by Tommy Tuberville, the former Auburn football coach, who's going to run for governor. But it certainly looks that way at this point. He had been talking about it again. I've had numerous conversations with him about it this past off season. So looks like Stephen Pearl, and that was always going to be the deal. Um, he was trying to get it in the contract that Stephen Pearl would be the next head coach if he did something like this. And I think the closer to the start of the season, the more you're locked in. Now, obviously, you're not going to go out and do a search for a new coach. So Stephen Pearl, his son, who's in his late 30s, who's been with him, I played for him at Tennessee, been an assistant with him at Auburn, associate head coach the last couple of years, will get a shot to at least succeed him. We'll see if that's a 1 year deal or a 4 year deal or what it is. But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised only because the last conversation I had, it sounded like he was leaning the other way. And he didn't want to walk away from all this money at Auburn to take a job that would pay him, frankly, not a lot of money. But he took pride in what he told me was to be the first Jewish senator, Republican senator in the country. So he's been very, very involved in politics, very, very public about his social media posts, pro-Israel, and being a Republican. So we'll see kind of where this goes.
So, this is the second time in the last 2 years where we have had a shock retirement from a potential Hall of Fame head coach. Tony Bennett was last year. 2 years before that, it was Jay Wright. Although Jay Wright retired in April, it wasn't in September. Tony was obviously in August. We were live on WCC Media Day. Sorry to the Gonzaga players still that didn't get a chance to get interviewed by you at WCC Media Day. But was how much of this was a result of the fact that he is going to be able to right now get his son to be able to step in? Like if that was not the situation, if we didn't know that Stephen Pearl was going to be able to be the guy that replaced him, do you think that this decision would have been made now?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think that certainly made it easy, right? He's 65 years old to
Mhm.
be able to get his son this job now. And there's no better opportunity than after Final Four, right? What they did last year, they dominated. They were the number one team in the country. They won the SEC. They went to the Final Four. He'll never have more leverage to be able to get Stephen Pearl the head job than he did right now. So I think certainly it helped, but you wonder too how much the recent assassination of Charlie Kirk played into this. I don't know. I haven't talked to him recently about this. We've texted recently, but I think certainly he had gone back and forth numerous times throughout the summer.
Now, what's your expectation for Steven's ability to be able to get the full-time job? Is this just an interim situation? Is this something where he is now has a longer contract, or we just don't know that information yet? We're
Yeah,
recording this literally minutes after the
right.
news broke.
Yeah, we do not know for sure yet whether it's going to be, an interim deal, whether it be a multi-year deal. I would anticipate it's a multi-year deal, and you go with a low buyout if you're John Cohen, the athletic director at Auburn. But I think you want to try to sustain this certainly, and Stephen Pearl's been a huge part of their success. And again, a guy now you've got your team already locked in. Now they can transfer. They can transfer now. When there's a coaching change, you have 30 days. So there'll be some people coming after probably the Keyshawn Halls and the Tahai Pettifords of this team to see if they can get them. But again, a lot of these guys are making a good amount of money, and I'm not sure that anybody else has this type of money left over to compete to get a Tahad Pettiford or a Keyshawn Hall, who are both Keyshawn's making in excess of $2 million a year this year.
Will they be allowed to be eligible this season if they transfer?
Yeah, I don't know what the rules are going to be because obviously they've already enrolled and been in classes at Auburn. So I wouldn't think so. I would think they would need a waiver to be able to do that. But I don't know. We haven't really been in this type of situation before. You could maybe find a school that has
Just
quarter
yeah,
systems.
for clarity's sake, Jalen Warley last year at Virginia was a transfer that came in, and after Tony Bennett left, he transferred to Gonzaga and he redshirted last season. I don't know if it'd be worth it for any of these guys to sit out for a year and redshirt, but that's the interesting part. This is a top 15 team. This might be the
Yeah,
best situation that Stephen Pearl could step into.
it is. I mean, other than last year, but we didn't even know last year they'd be this good. So now you go into a really good situation, and as long as he can, retain all these guys, which again, I think it's going to be hard for these guys to pivot and go somewhere else with so much uncertainty, right? I mean, maybe it's, if you're the eighth man on Auburn and somebody else offers you a lot more money, but there's still the uncertainty whether or not you'd be eligible until maybe the semester. Like I could see that, right? I could see them being eligible for maybe the second semester after in December.
How much does this change your opinion on how good this Auburn team can be this season? How much of what they put together was a result of, hey, they're top 15 because they have Bruce Pearl as their coach?
I mean, it's huge. It's huge. I mean, Bruce Pearl's done it for so long. Stephen Pearl hasn't called a timeout yet. So yeah, no, I think in any situation, you go from a guy again that's been proven that's a Hall of Fame level coach that's won everywhere they've been. I mean, think about it. We forget what Bruce Pearl has done at
He's a Hall of
Tennessee.
Famer, man. He's a Hall of
Correct.
Famer.
He did it at Auburn. He built this program that was so downtrodden. Tony Barbee, Jeff Lebo, nobody wanted this job. The only reason he got it, frankly, was because nobody else wanted it. And Auburn took a shot on him at that point. He still had the show cause in place. And he's turned this from arguably as bad of a Power Five job as it was then to now one of the best jobs in the country, basketball jobs.
Yeah, he's done an unbelievable job building that Auburn program from what was the bottom of the SEC into a place where Neville Arena is impossible to win at. It is an absolute hornet's nest, and he's put himself in a spot where we're going to have Hall of Fame conversations now that he is gone. We are going to have plenty more on this breaking story as it develops. But for now, just know Bruce Pearl is retired. Stephen Pearl is stepping into that position as the new head coach at Auburn. And we